I watched Crawl today, so that means that you now have to hear about it. Well, what can I say about Crawl? It's pretty damn good. A good modern film. It actually feels kind of weird saying that. A good modern Western film? Strange, but true. Crawl is a 2019 American natural horror film. It was directed by Frenchman Alexandre Aja. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, but there you go. Stars British actress Kaya Scodelario, Canadian actor Barry Pepper. It was produced by Sam Raimi, the Sam Raimi, and was filmed in a Serbian cargo facility called the Port of Belgrade. And it's set in Florida. Quite the concoction. The film begins at a swimming pool where we first meet main character Hayley Keller, played by Kaya Scodelario. She's taking part in a swimming competition, and while she does extremely well and demonstrates that she's a highly adept swimmer, she loses to some of her fellow competitors, and with that, Crawl is already leaps and bounds ahead of a great many female-led films of the modern era. Hayley isn't perfect. She isn't the best swimmer there. She isn't outpacing a group of misogynistic men effortlessly. She isn't a Mary Sue. She's good at what she's doing, and this gains our respect, but she also isn't the best swimmer in the history of the universe, and as such, she comes across as being far more realistic and likeable than, this, for example. She chats on the phone with her sister while getting changed, who informs her that a massive Cat 5 hurricane is heading their way, and asks if she has heard from their father, Dave. She hasn't, and decides she's going to drive down to see him, a journey that she estimates will take around 2.5 hours or so to do. A foolhardy decision, perhaps, but we soon come to understand that she is quite a stubborn person, a trait inherited from her father. Further evidence of this can be seen when she defies the commands of a police officer, her sister's ex, who tells her she cannot proceed past a certain point. She gives him the slip, however, and eventually makes it to where her father is, and that place is the old family home, where she finds him injured and unconscious amid much flooding and devastation in the house's crawl space. And this is when it hit me, and the name of the film made sense. Yes, it's called Crawl because it's about alligators and alligators crawl, but it also takes place almost entirely within a crawl space. Very cool. At first I thought Crawl is a bit generic, bit of a bland one-word name for a film, sort of like Rogue or Primeval, but when it became apparent that Crawl took place inside of a crawl space, I went, ah, yeah, right, I see. So yeah, an interesting double meaning to the name. This also leads on to another point I'd like to make, which follows on from the name and location of the movie. Crawl is, for the most part, a single location film, sharing similarities with a film called The Pool, which I reviewed not too long ago. The Pool is also a single location film, and Crawl being a single location movie also means it's a win in my book, as I'm extremely fond of these types of films. They pose some very unique challenges to all involved, as it means the characters have to utilize their surroundings effectively in order to get out of the jam that they have found themselves in. When done well, it makes for a thrilling experience, and Crawl does do this very well. Hayley has to contend with a pair of ferocious alligators in the crawl space, as well as many others lurking around outside. She also has her father's dog to look after, which means she has a fair few things to juggle. Her dad isn't just a lifeless invalid throughout the film though. He's a tough customer, equally as stubborn as his daughter, and the pair of them are willing and able to fight their way out, if need be. They're both very likeable. The actors have great chemistry, and they portray their characters in a way that gets across the great affection that Hayley and her father have for each other, which remains hidden behind the stubborn nature that they both share. I very much enjoyed the moments of humour and levity, which were brief and executed very nicely. There's no MCU-esque quips here that dissolve the tension and remind you that there aren't really any stakes. The stakes are high in this movie, and the humour leaves as quickly as it arrives. One such instance of this is where Hayley's father instructs her to find the wet wall, meaning the wall with all the plumbing that leads up into the house, to which Hayley replies, "They're all wet." It's a bit of a you had to be there style of amusing exchange, and probably doesn't seem all that funny when it's explained to you secondhand, but it's the kind of well-crafted dialogue that gives Crawl a realistic feel. It's not a particularly consequential exchange between them, but it works because it is the kind of slight misunderstanding that could actually take place, especially during a high-stress situation. It makes sense when you see it, so I won't harp on about it anymore. One minor criticism from me would be that it does contain a few instances of, for lack of a better word, Americanisms, with motivational "you got this" style phrases that Americans love, but a bitter and cynical Englishman like myself would cringe at. I guess this movie is set in America though, so these kinds of lines are a necessary evil, I guess. The setting of the film I found particularly enjoyable, as despite my prior tongue-in-cheek remarks about Americanisms, I do have a great fondness for American culture and for the country itself. I myself actually visited Florida with my family for 2 weeks back in 2005, a lifetime ago, and I do hope to return one day, as I really enjoyed the overall vibe of the place, Clearwater being a particular favourite of mine. As such, the Florida setting of Crawl was one I found particularly cool. There really aren't enough films set in Florida. There should be. I really like that balmy, tropical atmosphere, and I hope to uncover more gator movies set there as I look for more to review. I don't really want to spoil anything from Crawl, not that it's a particularly cerebral film with twists and turns that'll make your eyeballs spin, but it is an excellent and thrilling film in and of itself. It's well put together and acted, with Kaya Scodelario being the highlight for me. She made her character Haley likeable and gave her an actual personality. It's the little things that count, the inflections in the voice, the mannerisms, the interactions with other characters, and Haley was enjoyable to watch. I very much cared about her, her father, and the dog of course, and I wanted to see them escape this precarious situation that they found themselves in. But do they? You'll have to watch the film to find out. I also enjoyed Barry Pepper's turn as Dave Keller. He was likeable and played the part of a concerned father who pushes his daughter to do well because he cares for her deeply, extremely well. And going back once more to the setting, another thing that stood out to me was that while the alligators were the most dangerous aspect of the character's plight, it was actually the Category 5 hurricane itself that I would consider to be the main villain of the story. I love single location films, and I also love when the environment that the movie takes place in is the thing that antagonizes the characters the most, and is, as cliche as it sounds, a character of its own. The hurricane is the villain, and the gators are merely the weapon it uses to try and destroy the main characters. I will rate Crawl a 9 out of 10. It's very well done in all respects, and it seems like one of those films where everything has just fallen nicely and neatly into place. I will be coming back for a rewatch very soon. Anyway, thanks for watching my review of Crawl. I hope you found it interesting. Please remember to hit that like button and leave a comment with your thoughts. Also, please hit the subscribe button so that you can be notified of future uploads. Thanks for checking out Jaws World. Take care. Bye-bye.